Hello and welcome to the Bloggers Magazine on I-24 News, where we bring you a different perspective on social stories and trends from the Middle East. This week, we discuss some of the recent trends in feminism, exposing breasts as social protests, slut walks, and the provocative use of social media. Is the next wave of women liberation a virtual one or just the opposite? Is it back in the streets? To find out, we're joined by social activist, gender and new media researcher Shlomit. Hello to you.
Hello.
Hi. And of course, Gili Brenner, Middle East commentator for Levantinopolis. Good to have you back as well. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to see you again.
So just like every show, we begin today's show with 3 short stories that caught our attention recently in just 60 seconds.
They lived happily ever after and abused their children. That's the slogan behind a provocative campaign against incest called the Princess Diaries. The campaign was created by St. Hoaxes, a Middle Eastern artist working anonymously, staging Disney princesses kissed by their fathers. According to St. Hoax, using cartoons is the best way to speak to young children. It leaves the spectator open-mouthed. A house made of salt from the San Francisco's Bay. That's the crazy project of American designers and architect company. Mixed with special glue, the salt turns into a waterproof and resistant polymer. And this is not their only innovation. Construction of these houses is also revolutionary. They are printed in 3D. We still don't know the price of these abodes. The bill might be steep, but if it works, the abundance of sea salt might make it affordable. Paul the Octopus has a successor, Max the Lemur, the new striker on the field of soccer forecast. This animal from Tel Aviv Zoo foresees the results of matches according to feeding choices. Max is offered 2 dishes of food representing the teams in the match, and his selection foresees the winner. But Max the Lemur is not the only one in the market. He's competing with pandas from China, an Emirate camel, and a German elephant.
All right, so while I'm sure we have a lot to say about these stories, let's get to today's issue, feminism. I want to hear, let's begin with you, Shlomit. What part does feminism play in your everyday life?
Major part. It's part of my identity. It's part of the things I write about, I research. Part of my perspective on life, I would say.
Okay. Gili, does it play such a major role in your everyday life as well?
Recently, more so. I
How
didn't
so?
realize until recently, but it does play a bigger role recently because the more I grow older, the more I realize that actually things are not as simple as I thought they were. And there's still more things to be done, so I'm more aware of it.
All right, we'll hear more. As we can see, feminism comes in many shapes and colors, and one of its new trends is femen. Women using their bodies as a feminist statement. In general, addressing gender issues is getting more and more complicated, as we can see in this following report.
Feminists have often been seen as manly, unshaven, or intellectuals that like to use the word patriarchal. But then came femen. Since then, the world has discovered feminists who show off their breasts for their cause, to the great displeasure of other women who consider femen as not helping the cause at all. Meanwhile, in the UK, feminists are trying to suppress the Sun's infamous page 3, which often shows topless women, thus normalizing the objectification of women. But that is peanuts compared to the Danish reality TV show Black Men, which was thankfully cancelled this year. The concept was simple. A woman stands completely naked in front of 2 men who make comments about her body. No comment. So what do feminists want? To be able to wear pants like men or skirts like women, or for both women and men to wear skirts and pants? In fact, the world seems to be ever confused about the concept of gender. For instance, there are Swedish schools where the words he or she are banned to avoid influencing children. This month, a German high school invited boys to show up wearing a skirt and girls to wear a mustache. In the United States and Britain, Facebook is introducing 70 new gender options. And in Canada, municipalities support transgender students with, among others, neutral bathrooms. To sum up, pink is not only for girls, blue is not only for boys, girls can play with trucks, and boys can film themselves crying online to get back their lost love. While some may be feeling lost, others are finding their freedom.
Let's start with you, Gili. What do you think about feminine? What do you think about exposing breasts as a feminist statement? Does it work?
Look, femen are a bit tricky. We all know about them. We hear about their struggles. But I think at the end of the day, I'm not sure if it's more for self-promotion or for the promotion of the cause. If judging by the results, I think it's pretty questionable. So I'm pretty suspicious now of their activities.
No, it
I
is
have to be
definitely
honest.
provocative. It's just a question if there's anything beyond the provocation.
Absolutely, yes. I salute them. It's not my feminism, but I really appreciate their feminism and the place they come from. Let's not forget they come from Ukraine, where women are really restricted. There are no gay rights, etc., etc., etc. And these women, they take hold of their body and the way they expose it. It's not, they turn the table around in the sense that they are not an object, but they are a subject who decide how to show the body and use the body as a way to protest and say something.
Also in the way that they promote themselves, they're quite innovative.
Yeah, they use new media. They use all their abilities today. They're very young. Many of them are very young, and they are innovative. I agree with that.
As you said, most of them are very young, very pretty, and they fit into the model of traditional beauty. So I'm not sure if they're undermining the cause or actually strengthening it. It remains to be seen. I mean, I'm pretty conflicted about myself.
Right.
But they succeed in bringing themselves into history. They are succeeding in making a point.
Correct. But so did Madonna, and I'm not that sure that she has strengthened women or weakened them, for example.
Okay, that's a debate.
That's a fair point. I'm curious if feminism has lost its way in a sense. In the past, there were some very obvious goals to get the women to vote, to get women to work. Should the goals be more defined nowadays?
I think the goals are still very, very clear, and we haven't reached them yet. I mean, the ultimate goal of feminism would mean there'll be no more feminism because there will be no need of it. But when living in Israel and you see what's happening, how few women are in the government, how much we are not part of the media, how are women lacking in all the debate about security, then you realize that there is still a long way to go.
Yeah. I have to agree. I think we have to go back to basics. The feminist struggle hasn't ended. And I think in the past years it has alienated a lot of people because it focused on categorizing and creating new subcategories and definitions, and a lot remained in their own circles.
I see. Thank you, Gili. Time for today's portrait, and in it we meet Tzipi Eran, a high-tech worker from Tel Aviv whose life is anything but traditional or square. Tzipi stands behind several social causes with an emphasis on feminist activities such as the Israeli slut walk. Yael Gaaton brings us her story.
This image of Tzipi Eran, a somewhat ordinary woman in her mid-40s, relaxing in her Tel Avivian home, might be deceiving.
I define myself in various ways.
She's bisexual, vegan, Palestinian solidarity activist, childless by choice, and above all, one of the main leaders of the Israeli radical feminist community.
You finish school, you go to college, you get married, you have babies, you get a mortgage, and it's just a path that you have to be on. And I've never liked this idea of having a path set for me and I have to do these things.
The first slut walk in Israel took place in 2012. Back then it was small, almost trivial, and far from its ambition to change the discourse. Yet it continued to grow in both size and influence, attracting 1,000 people to slut walk in Tel Aviv this year.
Which is incredible for a march against sexual violence in Israel. Normally when you have marches against sexual violence, you're lucky to get 100 people. That would be considered a really high number. Here's a poster from the last slut walk. It says it doesn't matter what we wore, if we drank, or how we behaved, we're still not asking for it. This is the shirt from the 2014 Tel Aviv slut walk, and it says eradicating rape culture.
But this is only a small part of her feminist and social activism.
I do a lot of online activism. 2 blogs, 6 Facebook pages, feminist group, protests, marches, petitions. I can't be away from it for more than an hour at a time.
Tzipi is an optimist despite the difficulties a woman living outside the social confines faces daily.
Hi, ugly whore. No wonder you are a fucking angry slut with a face like someone who can suck only horses' dicks. Especially in Israel, I've experienced a lot of abuse. I've been called an unnatural woman. I've been called a traitor. I've had people threaten to punch me in the face.
The feminist struggle is often lonely, and its activists crave for connection and support.
In the word that it was for
From time to time, they gather here, a small coffee place at the south of Tel Aviv. Poets, activists, anarchists, sharing radical causes, working together to bring to our streets the new form of feminism.
within the sound of silence.
Tzipi is definitely a character, and I think she also is a good example of how things work in the new media world, Shlomit, as opposed to how it is in the real world.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening through the new media, ability of women to get together, spread ideas, spread new concepts. And we see it in many feminist groups. There's some kind of a movement which is enhanced through the social media, especially...
Which changes the traditional... the traditional power structure, let's say.
It has the potential to do so, and it's starting to do so by enabling new ideas to spread around and enabling women to get together and, share their stories.
Yeah. As we saw, yeah. Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, when we talk about online activity, it's all great, and I think we have to be very cautious that it doesn't come at the expense of traditional activity, because there is this danger of getting caught up in this inflated sense of self. Sometimes you think that the impact, yes. So you're either sometimes preaching to the converted or responding to haters.
Right.
So you have to not get caught up in this and
as we've seen,
stick
there
to
are
traditional
plenty
activity.
of haters, and is there a risk that could become an actual problem?
Definitely, but I don't think it has to be exaggerated just as much as the support needn't be exaggerated. We have to realize that it's new media, and we have to know how to respond to it and not to
Shlomit,
pat ourselves on the back.
I see this
too
new
much.
media as a virtual reality, and it has some reality in it. It's not, it has power, and actually it's the new public sphere. And if we don't see women right now in Israeli very militant situation, we see much less women talking. We see much less women participating. We see much less women saying something about the severe situation we are in. And in the new media, we have a platform to voice ourselves, to say, this is what I think, this is how I see the situation. This is a new power women have.
Yeah. Well, Slutwalk and the Slutwalk and many of Tzipi's other activities, they address body image, social perception, and its impact on women. These issues made their way in recent years into commercial campaigns as well. Let's take a quick look at a part of a new video by Always that asked grown-ups and then children what it means to run like a girl.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. My hair. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
Well, it's very sweet, but can a campaign like this make a difference?
I love it.
I love it too.
I love it because it's very different from other campaigns where, the stereotypical way women are portrayed. There's something to think about. There's a new way of thinking of things. And there's a question here on basic notions. Because throw like a girl is actually a phrase. Men say to each other, you throw like a girl. Well, throwing like a girl could be a fantastic thing.
Exactly. If it's done well, it's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's too cliche, and sometimes it's whitewashing as well.
Yeah, that is a question. I wonder. I mean, obviously, it does good to the brand that attaches its name to it, and it does good in general.
Yeah, it's a very girly brand that is trying to now promote different perceptions of what girly is.
Right. We've seen it with Dove as well. The body image, the way women should look. And it always feels a little bit forced, a little bit that they think that that's the way they're going to get another client or two.
People, there's a saying, מתוך שלא לשמה. Sometimes you do things for commercial reasons, for money reasons, but the thing is, you do well for the community.
Shlomit, thank you so much. I'm sorry, but we're out of time. Shlomit, Gili, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you at home for joining us as well. We will be here again next week with a whole new edition of Bloggers just for you. Be sure to join us.